Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video we're going to get a little bit up close and personal, and I wanted to talk about contraception. I want to share a little bit about my story, what I have used and what I am currently using as a contraceptive method. And I thought it was nice, one, because I'm just trying to be a little bit more open and useful on this channel, and I love watching videos like this anyway. I was going to say, if you're not old enough, don't watch this video, but actually I think it's important for all ladies to understand their bodies and know what options they have for them. So I just wanted to caveat that I'm not a professional, I'm not a doctor or a nurse or a sexual health practitioner. If you do have any key questions or issues, please do ask a professional. I'm just a girl on the internet who wants to share my story with you guys. Right, so let's take it back. I started taking contraception when I was around 18, 19, and actually it wasn't because I was sexually active, it's because I had really heavy, painful periods. And there is nothing like being doubled over, not being able to go to lectures or classes and crying and just being in agony for just a couple of days. It's the worst thing ever, and people really don't understand the struggle. And I'm not sitting here and saying that I have it the worst, because I know people who have it so badly. It's actually a real medical issue just to be in a lot of pain, and I just wanted an option. So my GP suggested that I could try going on the pill, and I used to be like, oh my gosh, what will my mama say? Oh my gosh. But I was at uni at that point in time, so I was like, you know what, my mum doesn't know, I'm going on the pill, bye. So yeah, I was on the pill, and the first pill I went on was the combined pill. So I think the pill was called microgynyl, and it contains progesterone and estrogen in synthetic form, and these two basically work, one by thinning the lining of the womb as well as increasing the mucus. So it's about 99% effective. Yeah, so I took that for about a year and a half to 2 years, and it really did help with reducing my period pains for sure. And you basically don't really have a period, it's actually called a breakthrough bleed. So I took the pill for 21 days, stopped for 7 days, you have a breakthrough bleed, and then you start again. So I won't lie, I wasn't that worried about the side effects. I was just happy to not really have periods that were very heavy or painful anymore, and it definitely worked. But I know that people were worried about weight gain. I didn't have that, and a few other things such as deep vein thrombosis, that kind of stuff. But because I was young, active, didn't smoke, so those kind of stuff I was very low risk for. However, the thing that I really felt like is that it was impacting me emotionally. I felt like I was just stroppier. Now that I'm off of it, I realized that, you know, during that time of the month you are quite stroppy, but I didn't want anything that was going to make that worse. So I actually ended up stopping taking that and not being on any form of contraception at all. So fast forwarding on to getting married and stuff, this was the point in time where I wanted to take my contraception very, very seriously. So firstly, we started off using condoms, and they are basically 98% effective, which is relatively effective. And most of the time the reason why they don't work is because of user failure. So something happens with the individuals, which did happen to us, which I'll talk about next. But yeah, we started off using condoms just because I hadn't looked at what my contraceptive options were. I felt like I really didn't want to be on the pill because I didn't want to have to remember to take one every day, but I hadn't really done my research. So condoms were actually the first thing that we started using, and you know what, they work. I do feel like they don't make everything as amazing as it normally would be. I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah, I would say that that is definitely the case for myself. I do feel like if you get a bit too vigorous and a bit too excited with condoms, that sometimes accidents happen. We ended up actually having, I think, 2 accidents with the loss of a condom. And I hate going into too much details, but yeah, it definitely happens. And so the option that I ended up taking was a morning after pill, which is, I believe it's called Levanel. And that basically contains a high amount of progesterone, which is a hormone that basically thickens the line of the mucus and also prevents you from releasing an egg. And that is basically what prevents you from getting pregnant. Again, I do say that it makes you feel quite ill and quite nauseous, but it is an option if you do have an accident. So moving on, I looked at the IUD and the IUS, which is basically the copper coil and the other T-shaped item, which also releases hormones. These last a really long time. These were not an option for me because I didn't want anything that was going to be inserted, because I was really worried about having heavy periods and extreme period pain. It's something that I have eventually learnt to manage with by basically taking medication beforehand and after and during, and I didn't want anything that was going to make that worse for me, so that wasn't an option. And then I looked at the implant. So the implant is something that is inserted into the arm underneath here, and it also contains progesterone, which is slowly released into your body. I believe it lasts up to 3 years, so you can have it in there and you're kind of safe. Some women feel like they have heavier periods. Some women say that they have no periods at all. However, when I was like researching into this and finding out that there's some people who have periods for like you know, for like 3 months straight, I was like, no, I can't do it. I just couldn't do it. That wasn't an option for me. It's not something that I want to do. And I also had quite a regular cycle. So funnily enough, I ended up back on the pill, but I ended up on the one that was just progesterone only rather than progesterone and estrogen. I'm not quite sure why that was recommended for me by my doctor, but that's what they suggested. So again, I felt like it was having an impact on me emotionally. So I was like, you know what, this is not for me. And I actually ended up just stopping taking the pill, full stop. And I was like, right, we're going to use condoms again. You know, when you're married, like, using condoms is just not a thing that people want to do. So what I do when it comes to my contraception is that I use natural family planning as a method of contraception. It's actually about 99% effective if done correctly, and it has been around for forever. It's like the oldest form of contraception, and it's all about basically knowing about your own body and how it works. The reality is that there are only a couple of days in a month where a woman can actually get pregnant, and it's when she has released an egg and it is ready to be fertilized. Other than that, you can't actually get pregnant in the month. And it's quite important as ladies to kind of know what is going on in your body. Are you ovulating? Are you not ovulating? But it does take a while to understand how your body works, and a lot of people don't really monitor and check themselves properly to know when stuff is going on in their system. And the body's amazing because there are little ways that your body changes when you ovulate. Anyway, I currently use an app called Natural Cycles, and this is a really good app when it comes to monitoring and working out when you are at risk of pregnancy or are not. This is the app that I use here. It basically says use protection because I might be close to ovulating. And what I have is a thermometer as well. This is the thermometer. This is the thermometer. Yeah, this is the thermometer which you use every morning just to work out your body temperature. So when you're ovulating, your body actually changes temperature during that period of time. And what happens is that if you keep checking every day, you'll see kind of very steady temperature until you're ovulating, and you'll see a change, and that is a period of time where you're high at risk of getting pregnant because you might have just released an egg, or an egg is already like in your womb. It's actually the only EU regulation approved contraception app, so it's really good. It works really well, and for me it's a good alternative to taking hormone. All I do is measure my temperature every day, put that data into the app, keep doing it consistently, and it is able to work out how my cycle is and when I'm highly likely to be ovulating or not, which I think is great. After that, another natural method is also to have a look at your mucus, or look at what's going on the inside. You may need to use 2 special fingers, or even one, actually no, probably only one actually. And what it is that during your cycle, your mucus actually changes quite a bit, and you'll be able to tell the difference between when you're not ovulating and when you are, because what your body is either is preparing you to have, you know, sperm coming up in there and fertilizing your egg, or not. And so if you keep checking, you keep monitoring, you'll be able to see that there's a consistent change in what your body produces. So basically how I ended up getting pregnant is because I was using natural methods. I had actually stopped using contraception for about a year and a half prior. I just stopped, and actually we've been going quite well, you know. doing the deed, all that kind of good stuff. And actually we were quite consistent. I wasn't really tracking it, but I knew kind of, you know, I feel like around now I might be ovulating, so let's not. Or we're using the method such as, which isn't the most reliable. However, we are in a committed and long-term relationship, and we were in a position of, you know, if we get pregnant, we get pregnant. If we don't get pregnant, we don't. It wasn't something we were thinking about or trying for. And I remember literally it was one vigorous encounter where we got a bit carried away and didn't, you know, and then yeah, we had a baby, and we have the amazing Grace with us now. So, and now I definitely know I do not want to get pregnant. I am using the Natural Cycles app to make sure that I just keep on top of my schedule. It's really good, really easy to do, and just being aware of your body is something that I think that every woman should do, whether they're trying for a baby or not, whether they want contraception methods or not. Just being on top of that kind of stuff is very important. So guys, that is the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. I know there's a bit TMI at some point in time, but sometimes the topics like this you have to kind of share a little bit more, but I try to keep it all PG as much as possible. I will have the Natural Cycles app in my description bar below. Please do download it and become a cycler if you are looking at finding more natural or alternative forms of contraception. But in the meantime, I will catch you later. Bye.